Was that awkward? Okay, good. All right, so if you're looking around today, you won't see as many in here, but you'll see several of these blue shirts. But you go down to the kids' wing, it is like a blue tidal wave going. This is our camp shirt. Over here we have the pumpkin patch. So if you did not get a paper plate when you walked in, the pumpkins are about to pass one out. So raise your hand if you still need a plate. Anybody in the balcony need a plate? We need some plates up there. Plate over here, plate over there. You get a plate, you get a plate, everybody gets a plate. All right. Now, get to know your neighbor because you're about to share the pen in the pew in front of you. Or if you grab it quick, you don't have to share. It's up to you. Yeah, look at me. Wow. You are some stingy people. Resourceful. I will rent you this pen for $1. All right. Everybody in the balcony got some? Okay. Sound booth, you guys good? Everybody's got a plate? So just in case you've been out of the loop, these guys left for camp Thursday before last, got back this past Monday. We left Monday morning, got back Wednesday. It is really cool to watch what God does with groups of kids at camps. It is amazing to watch the Spirit work, and even the youngest ones. It's amazing. So to all of you that signed up, said, hey, we're going to be praying for camps, thank you. We felt them. We watched the answers happen. It was amazing. So again, thank you for praying for camp. And if you've never been to a camp, I don't know, maybe we need to do an adult camp, take you out there and you get to experience the two-man swing and the zip line and throw some of you folks up on the ropes course. There's a lot of nervous laughter, like that's not funny, ha-ha laughter. I was like, no. There's some fears being faced right now, aren't there? All right, so you got your plates now. Anybody else need one? Are we good? Okay, Cameron, catch. All right, so on the back of your plate, or the bottom, however you look at them, I don't know. There's a bottom, a top, a back, a front. On the part that sticks up when you set it down, the part you wouldn't eat on, you're going to need to make room for several answers in the middle of this. So, first thing, what's your favorite restaurant? Write that down. Favorite restaurant. Like, mine is no longer around, Country Pride. Anybody remember Country Pride? Yeah, the internet recipe for their enchiladas is close, but no cigar. I miss Country Pride. You'll help, I will take that help because I miss Country Pride. All right, so tell somebody next to you what your favorite restaurant is. What'd you put down? Okay, next one. Your favorite fast food place. And maybe that was your restaurant. Like, oh, there's a difference. It's like Target and Walmart. I don't know, okay? Your favorite fast food. And for some of you, it may be like, but what genre? Mexican, burgers, you know. I just went overall favorite Whataburger because I was born and raised in Texas, right? So, oh, Wiener Schnitzel. Do you ever see a redheaded 16-year-old there like daily? So, favorite fast food. Now tell the person next to you what your favorite fast food is. Okay. Number 3, your favorite coffee or ice cream shop. If you're not a coffee person, ice cream person, I'll give you either or you can write down both. I did Roasters and Orange Leaf. So favorite coffee place, coffee shop, or ice cream shop and or. Now tell the people next to you where you like to eat or drink something cold and sweet, hot and... Caitlin, do you need a neighbor? Well, Caitlin, will you talk to Caitlin? All right. Number 4. And I'll give you a few seconds to think about this. I'll tell you some stories while you do. Your most memorable meal ever. So on our honeymoon, we got to eat supper with Shamu. He literally swam up onto a pad in front of us. That was really cool. We got to watch him eat and do tricks, and that's cool. If you've never tried a Brazilian steakhouse, those are amazing. Yes. No, it can be in the house. Whatever the most, maybe if you burned one rock solid like a brick, or you made the best recipe ever. When I was in seminary, there was an Indian family there, and I was a youth pastor at the church that they went to with us. And I had their 3 high school girls in my youth group, and they invited me over for supper one night. And we'd been out before, different school functions, church functions, and he told me at school that day, he said, "You like spicy, right? I've seen you eat Mexican food." I was like, "Yes, I like spicy." I didn't understand that in India, that means put lava in your mouth. I get there, and I can smell this food before I even sit down, and you know, you rip the bread, you scoop some up, and I should have used so much more bread. I am dying, my ears are ringing, I'm sweating, I'm red, and the 3 little high school girls are like, "Look at the big white guy." Like they were giving me, I don't know that I drank a gallon of milk, but I tried, and it still didn't help. But that memory is there for, not because of the food was amazing. So, all right, so now you've had enough time. Tell the people next to you your most memorable meal. There's a lot of laughter on this one that there wasn't on the others. I'm going to need to know some of y'all's meal stories after this. All right, number 5. Someone, and it can be a group, it can be a person, a couple, whatever. Someone you got to know better over food. I can tell you my wife, when we started dating, coffee shop date, and then we went to eat. And so, closest friends, we spend a lot of time eating together. Band boosters, last night we had an impromptu meeting with half of the board, and the guy hosting cooked for all of us. So, man, sit around burgers, got to know some of the members I didn't know. So, someone or somebody, some folks, you got to know closer, better over food. So now tell the people around you who you got to know over food. If you're a cannibal, this is awkward. You know why cannibals won't eat clowns? They taste funny. That's free. That's not even in my notes. Yeah, it's a bad dad joke. All right. So now flip your plate over. And I'll do this with you. Let's go down and write bless. Just not across, but down, okay? All right, so your plate should look like this. Bless, right? Donnie kicked us off with begin with prayer. God, who do you want me to reach? Who needs to know about you? Who's hurting and needs some attention? Ben picked up last week with listen. Once God's identified that person or people for you, you now know who you need to talk to. You engage with them and you listen to their story. You just talk to them. Like, but what do I say? What do you say when you meet people before the pastors told you to talk to people? It's the same conversations. Okay? Hey, how are you? Kids? Career? Politics is always fun right now. But you talk. Bring something up. You think this is the Cowboys' year? No, but we're going to say it is. I just defended 4/3 of you, right? And you're like, wait, is that math right? If you're a Cowboys fan, it is. And you're like, who's your team? I don't have one. That's why this is fun. Okay? But then we're going to talk about eat today. It's the next thing. And Gail, the 16-year-old that likes Wiener Schnitzel, may have made this comment when he found out I was preaching. Did Pastor Brad assign this to you because you're the biggest staff member? And it wasn't a joke. He was being serious with me. So, yeah, didn't think I'd use that, did you? Uh-huh. I'm also the staff member with the most hair, so it's okay. We began with prayer. We know who we're trying to reach. God's made that obvious to us. We've had a chance to listen to their story. And now here's the great thing. Eat with them. I see Will's turning like, what do you mean? I mean, eat with them. And what's great, L and E go together amazingly. And next week, we're going to be talking about serve them. Man, if you invite them over to your house, not only do you get to listen to them, you get to eat with them, you get to serve them. See how all this kind of mixes together? You're like, yes, 3-in-1 steps. Then I can skip to the last S. You can actually do that, too, if the opportunity presents itself while you're eating. Share your story about Jesus. But today, we're going to talk about eating. Okay? What is a, I'm wearing the wrong shirt. I was thinking about the 50th anniversary shirts with our mission statement on it. What's it say? We exist to reach people for God and together take next steps with Christ. Man, eat. Reach people for God. I can reach people while we're eating with them. Remember some of the big neighborhood cookouts we've done, the Gene Howe outreaches? We've got another one coming up August 12th. You can already start signing up to help us cook burgers and brats and hot dogs for Meet the Teacher night. Oh, together. Guess what you're doing when you're eating with somebody? Together. Right? It's hard to eat with someone when you're alone. You can freak people out and move and have a conversation and change chairs and carry the thing on by yourself, but that's still not together, okay? Together we eat and take our next steps with Christ. Guess what? As we're serving Gene Howe, serving the homeless in the park, serving here at the church in the parking lot for different events, rib raisers, what are we doing? We're serving, we're working together, reaching people for God, and we're taking next steps. Cool how all this works, right? All meshes together. So, let's look at eating in the Bible. Tell you what, let's see who's old. It's a big, big table. Now, bonus points. Can anyone tell me who sang that originally? All right, audio adrenaline. Good. We sang that at camp several times this week. It's still a favorite with the kids. All right. See, again, that had nothing to do. See the stuff that pops in my head? All right, so look at this slide. Hey, and they put that up there for us, even better. I should look behind me more often. So let's look at eating in the Bible. We got a list of scriptures. Okay, John chapter 2. Jesus' first miracle. What's it at? The answer's up there. Wedding feast. What is a feast? People gathered together eating. Boom. Okay, next one. Matthew chapter 14. Right here, if you were at camp this week, Jesus feeds the 5,000 plus. Do you catch the word in there? Feeds. What are we doing again? Food, eating together. All right, next one. Every time we celebrate communion, we remember this meal where Jesus gave the example. Luke chapter 22, Jesus ate the Last Supper with the disciples. Do you see food as a common theme here? And then look at this one. Matthew chapter 9, Jesus eats with the sinners. Let's read that one together. Matthew chapter 9, verses 9 through 13. Give you a minute to, or whichever one you use. All right. Now let's make it awkward. Read it to your neighbor. No, just kidding. It'd take forever. Let's do this. As Jesus went on from there, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the tax collector's booth. And I love telling this story to my dad because he was an IRS agent until he retired. "Follow me," he told him, and Matthew got up and followed him. And while Jesus was having dinner, see that? Having dinner at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw this, they asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" We're going to stop right there. I love that. Jesus ate with sinners. And while we read that, we're probably thinking, oh, I know the type of people he'd eat with today. Gary, random memory again. We're on Boulder mission trip. The others aren't brave. They don't want to try Tibetan food, so we drop them and the vans off at a place where a bunch of restaurants in the square, and me and Gary hike a mile to a Tibetan place. Walk in, you order at the counter, you go to the dining room, which is the dining closet. Any of y'all ever eat at Arnold's downtown? You know how you sat next to your neighbor and it was really cozy? This was the Tibetan place. You could reach across and touch the people eating with you. So when we got there, it was just me and Gary in there. And then because we're in Boulder, 3 very stoned college kids come in. They were having a good time. So Gary and I start engaging them in conversation, and that straight freaked them out that the 2 like sober, straight dudes talking to them. Like, and what was funny, they thought we didn't know that they were high. That may have been one of the funnest meals I've ever ate anywhere. The food was amazing, by the way. If you ever get a chance to try Tibetan, do it. But we were eating with sinners, right? See, that's what we think of. We think of the other people. Here's the problem. We're the sinners. It's us. We're the ones Jesus would be eating with. But these religious leaders that looked down on everybody, that thought they were so superior, that were so condescending, they literally said, "Why does your master eat with tax collectors," which was a whole nother separate level of sinner, that they got their own title. Why does he eat with the tax collectors and sinners? Does he know who he's eating with? Does he understand who these people are? There's another time where a woman comes and anoints his feet, and they're like, oh, if they knew what kind of woman was touching him, Jesus would be offended, the disciples would be offended. Jesus is like, I know. We're good. They had this attitude that they were above needing a Savior. They didn't need to dine with Jesus. Truth be told, they probably all wished he would come to their house so they could say, oh, this crazy rabbi, we had him as a guest. Yeah, we saw his act. We listened to his words. But Jesus, I think probably, this is part of the problem. They were a little jealous, a little envious that, wait, does he not know how nice my house is? Look at these robes. Look how clean I am. And look at my standing in the community. And you chose to eat with that? Does anybody else's Bible have sinners in air quotes like Joey? Nobody got that, did you? It's okay. Sinners. The NIV does, and I love that they put it in the air quotes. Because as Matthew was writing this under inspiration of the Holy Spirit, even he knew, man, they're using this as a derogatory term when it really applies to all of us. We're sinners. So look at Jesus' answer. And what's that tell you? He's in a crowd eating. He can hear this. They're talking loud enough. They want him to hear this. Has anybody ever talked about you to somebody else, but they didn't want to talk to you, so they talked about you beside you? I know, it never happens to me either, right? It may. It actually may. You can ask my wife. I'm so deaf, you have to yell at me half the time in a crowd. But they're talking loud enough. Look what Jesus does. Verse 12. On hearing this, Jesus said, is it not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick? But go and learn what I mean. I desire mercy, not sacrifice, for I've not come to call the righteous, but the sinners. Now the air quotes are gone because he's talking about, I've come to call all of you. I didn't come for you guys that y'all are righteous. That should have been in air quotes. He said, you don't need me. It's obvious. You don't want me. You don't need me. You don't think you have a need for a Savior or for forgiveness. You think you're perfect. But like the doctor, I'm here for the sick people. Man, forget your sacrifices of your fake prayers, your showy offerings out in the public. I don't need that. Look what he wants. I desire mercy. And were these guys being merciful to the people he was eating with? No, they're standing there in that person's house, calling him names, being very derogatory about the company, the guest list, trying to derail Jesus, trying to take pot shots at him. And he's like, man, here's the problem. You guys don't need me. I'm here for these guys. This is exactly who I'm here for. Would it ever freak you out to go into urgent care and not hear somebody coughing? Why are you here? It's just a good day. I felt like walking and just showed up here. I don't know. Nothing hurts? No, probably after this walk, but right now I'm good. Well, this is urgent care. Oh, well, it's got nice air conditioning. No, when we go into the urgent care, we go into the ER, we go to our doctor's office, we're there for a reason. Something hurts, something's broken, I'm sick. Spiritually, something hurts, something broken, I'm sick. I need the doctor, the great physician. Every one of us would have been the guest at this, or we should be. We should never be the ones looking saying, ooh. So he sets a great example for us, right? Our ultimate example, eat with others, eat with the sinners, invite people. So we began with prayer, and hopefully God's given you a name or names, and you've been working on that already. Hopefully you've had a chance to talk to them, introduce yourself if you didn't know them, but you've had a chance to listen maybe just to a tease of their story. You don't know their whole thing yet. Well, here's where you can increase the listen. You eat with them. But what do we do? And Shelley actually gave me a book this morning, the 10-second rule that we had talked about before. In 10 seconds or less, psychologists have figured out we can talk ourselves out of doing anything, including whatever the Holy Spirit's prompting us to do as Christians. 10 seconds or less, we can come up with multiple excuses and reasons not to listen, not to talk, not to eat with these people. So let me read some of the excuses. See if this sounds familiar. We used to host people all the time. I've actually tried to make a list of how many church people have been in our house. Come eat, come by, just talk, visit. Sometimes drop a meal, sometimes just hang out. I couldn't even finish the list because, again, I'm old and forgetful, and it went past yesterday. I'm like, eh. But I realized COVID killed that for us, and we really hadn't brought it back like we used to. We used to have a small group in our house every Sunday afternoon. COVID killed that. So as I was preparing, we were talking about this sermon. I was like, we really need to get back to having people in our house again. Maybe COVID wasn't your excuse. Let's go with this. My home isn't nice enough, big enough, blank enough for guests. Fill it in. I'm not going to ask you to raise hands if you're like, oh yeah, that's why we can't have people over. Ours, even now, is still the kids. They're horrible. I'm going to take every pot shot I can after the love I had received. Okay, so maybe your house isn't big enough. Like our first house, you could get 4 in our dining room, and that was it. A 5th, you really could not move again. But here's what you can do. Hey, you want to meet me at my favorite restaurant, which is Country Pride? I'll buy. Wait, you can do this somewhere else? I don't know if you've ever noticed at your favorite restaurant, but there are other people eating there with other people. You can do this. Restaurants actually appreciate you bringing more people with you. They encourage that. Go out somewhere, okay? Again, this is a good one. I wouldn't know what to say. Do you people talk to other people? Like, you work, right? Very few people work in an industry where it's them and them only, day in, day on end, where they have no contact with anybody. Do you stop in a convenience store for a break? Do you go to a break room? Are you on conference calls? Do you stop for gas? Do you go get groceries? You will bump into people that you can listen to and eat with, okay? And just like you would talk to somebody, like we're all about to start a new school year, new classrooms, right? Meet the teacher night. What do you do while you're standing in line? Oh, hey, you go to school last year? Hey, what do you do? Hey, do you know so-and-so? Hey, what teacher did you get? Like we can do that, right? You go to a Sod Poodles game, you sit down, and if you're not like season ticket holders, you're just random seating each time, right? What do you usually do? Talk to the people next to you, right? Basic conversation. That's all we're asking. Okay? Just strike up a normal human conversation with them as you eat. Like if you don't know, try this. Have you ever ate here before? Hey, that looks good. Is it actually good? Right? Weird questions. What if they ask me something I don't know the answer to? This is Greek, but I think you guys can all repeat it and you'll understand it. I don't know. Try it. Come on, youth guys, speak Greek. I don't know. They got it. See, you older folks can get it too. And that's how you answer something when you're asked if you don't know the answer. It works on any topic. You're welcome. Okay? This is also allowed. You have the little pocket Google machine. Make a note of things I'd like to talk about. Is that weird? A little that you still need that at this age. But talk to them. This is a good one. If there's, I would have said a younger crowd, but I'm finding out it's any age. Do you Fortnite? This is so awesome. Yes, I do. So thank you for that. I'm not good. I die a lot and I have to be rebooted or revived, but that's cool. But the kids found out at camp that I played, and so they're all asking for my tag, and so I'm handing them my name so they can request me. And as this one kid's getting picked up this week, he's like, hey, before I request you, my dad's going to ask, do you cuss when you play? So if y'all want to know how I act at camp, the kids have to ask that of me, okay? And I was like, no, dude, I don't cuss when I play. It's a game. It's not worth getting that mad about. And he's like, but wait, what if we do really good and come in second? Are you going to get mad and let it fly then? I was like, no, dude, I'm okay with coming in second. That's actually better than most of my placings, so we're good. Ask them about something. Ask them who their favorite team is. Ask them where their kids go to school. Do you have grandkids? But make sure they look old enough to have grandkids, okay? I will tell you this. Don't ask a lady if she's pregnant or when she's due. Just don't. That's the only question you need to avoid, and you're golden, okay? So talk to them. All right, here's another one. Brother, the economy's tight. Food is expensive. Man, it would cost to host or take somebody out. $5 coffee a cup still irks me, but $10 for a couple of cups of coffee is okay when you're doing this with somebody, when you're building a relationship, when you're building a bridge to lead them to Jesus. Like last night, I told you we ate with other band booster parents. The couple that was hosting, the dad said, hey, look, I'll provide all the meat, the burgers. Can you guys sign up for sides? It's okay to do that. Invite people over and say, hey, would you bring a couple of sides or a salad? We'll provide this. It used to be called going Dutch, but that's probably racist to the Dutch people now. I don't know. I don't even know if I know Dutch people. So if anybody's watching this in Dutchland, see, I don't even know where the Dutch people live. See how sad is that? Holland, okay. So they live in Honda. You can do stuff like this. You can get creative. Did you know when you host people, you can eat sandwiches? Yeah. It doesn't have to be a 5-star, 7-course meal. Chips and sandwiches are amazing, and they're cheap. So if you're saying it's the cost, there's alternatives. Here's a big one. I'm too busy. Do you know what you're asking? Do you know my schedule? I don't, but I bet you still eat. So, not asking you to add more time to your day, another project to your day. I'm asking you to include somebody in something you're already going to do. I guarantee you're going to eat at least 1 meal a day. There's a good chance you're going to get coffee or ice cream once or twice this week. Invite somebody on. Well, I only have an hour for lunch. Good chance they may also. We're not saying you have to visit for the whole afternoon or the whole night. Like hour and a half, we're good, right? Bounce. We're not asking you like, okay, so we need you to eat breakfast at home, but then meet somebody else. How weird would that be? Like, I've already ate, but thanks for coming to meet me. You're already going to be eating. Invite somebody along with you. Did I hit your excuse? If not, come talk to me and we'll look for ways to crush your loopholes also later. I'm a dream killer, that's what I do. We have no excuse. Jesus Christ, our ultimate example, is here for a very finite time. And time again in the Gospels, what do we see him doing? Zacchaeus, come down because today I'm eating at your house. And Jesus ate with them. The Last Supper. What do we see when he reinstates Peter? After Peter's denied him 3 times, Jesus is resurrected. He meets him on the beach. What's he doing? It says he's cooking them breakfast. And they ate. If Jesus Christ, in the middle of living a sinless life, dying a horrendous, undeserved death, resurrecting, now going to get a place ready for us in heaven, can take time out to eat with all these people, we have no excuse. Not one. So let me give you some ideas now that we squashed those, right? Do you have a fire pit, fireplace, a patio, s'mores, watermelon in the summer on the patio, ice cream? Order a pizza, watch a game? Well, what would we talk about? Well, the game, probably. I don't know. I'll sit there and make fun of your team. I'm an equal opportunity target. Like, I'll make fun of all the teams. I just don't care, but I'll eat with you. How about this? We do this a lot. Cookouts. It's too hot. No, it's not. My neighbors, I've smelt their stuff all week, and man, it's amazing. It's not too hot to cook out. Coffee shops, ice cream shops, which, didn't y'all have a favorite earlier? Oh, so you already know where you want to take them, right? Set you up. It's cool. I'm going to give you an easy, like, right over the plate, right to you underhanded. Lunch today after church with somebody in this building. Look around this crowd. I guarantee you there's people in here you don't know. Or at best, you think you know their names. Find somebody in this building, and it looks like this. Would you go to lunch with me today? And if they say, would you, that means they're not buying, they're just asking you. But if they come up and say, hey, could I buy your lunch today? That means they're going to pay. So see, now you even got the ground rules. So they know by your invite what you mean, okay? Because that was going to be confusing, and I was afraid. I didn't want them to think I was paying because I'm not. No, see, we just made it easy. If you offer to pay when you ask them, you better pay. You have the perfect opportunity. Ask somebody in this auditorium to go to lunch with you today. And don't do this. Hey, we eat every Sunday. You want to go to lunch today again? Don't. Okay, that's like people giving up stuff for Lent that they don't even do. And you're like, we're Baptist. You know what I'm talking about. Find somebody you really don't know that well. Ask them to lunch. One of the coolest things I've ever seen. I love to watch people wherever I go. I like to watch body language. I like to watch the interactions. Kids were little. We're at the Chick-fil-A on Georgia. We met my mother-in-law and Kimmy's granny. And we're sitting there eating. It's crowded. It's lunchtime chicken, pre-COVID, so it's packed. And this guy that literally looks like he just got done feeding the cattle, old worn-out pearl snap, old worn-out Wranglers, heels on his boots just about wore off, the straw hat filthy, pliers in the leather holster. I see the guy come in, see him get his food, and I watch this. He takes his food and he turns toward the dining room and he's just looking. And I'm thinking, oh, he's trying to find who he's meeting. He was. But I watch him walk over to this college-age kid, young man. Guy's got, this is pre-AirPods, if that tells you. He has the things on. He's staring at a phone. And this guy goes up, and he's like, hey, I hate eating alone. Could I eat with you? And I'm like, oh, this is about to be either amazing or embarrassing. And the guy looks up and he kind of pulls his headphones down. He's like, I'm sorry, what did you say? He said, I'm here by myself. I absolutely hate eating alone. Could I eat with you? And the college dude's like, yeah. I mean, I'm halfway through. He's like, that's okay. When you're done, you can leave. At least company for half my meal would be good. And so the guy kind of he had been hunched over the table, the tech neck thing going. And he kind of straightens up, puts the earphones around his neck, puts the phone down. And the guy sits his tray down and he says, hey, I'm so-and-so. College dude answers. He's like, thanks, man. I eat alone a lot of meals and it gets old not having somebody to talk to. And he launched and they were still there talking when we left. And if you've ever ate with kids, that's a process, right? The B.L.E.S.S book did not even exist when this guy did that. That guy already had it figured out. You see how easy that is? You can even approach strangers. Well, I did not begin with prayer. I'm thinking that guy was praying as he was looking. God, show me the one. And he found him. And he obeyed. He stepped out, started the conversation, sat down and ate with him. Now, if God's already put someone on your heart, how much better is that? That God's already working on their hearts. It was an amazing interaction. So I want to read you a quote out of the book, the B.L.E.S.S book that we've been studying and as a staff and looking through and just sharing with you guys. The Ferguson brother authors, they wrote, author and Bible scholar N.T. Wright says, when Jesus wanted to explain to his disciples what his forthcoming death was all about, he didn't give them a theory, he gave them a meal. What was the Last Supper? Well, it was the Passover meal to begin with, and man, that came with a whole bunch of history and glorifying and honoring God. But then it became very special to us as it represented our Savior's death on that cross. This is my blood shed for you. This is my body broken for you. Maybe you're sitting in here and you're like, man, I was with you on the eating part, but I have no clue what you're talking about on this part. Jesus Christ came, lived, died for you, for me, because we're all the sinners that we were talking about earlier. Rose again 3 days later and literally in heaven preparing for us. How do you get there? How do you get to one of those prepared places? God, I'm a sinner without help and hope. Forgive me, help me turn away, repent of those sins. Lord, live in me. Lord, save me. Lord, help. That easy. They wrote this too. Through his sacrifice, Jesus invites all of us to share a meal at his table of grace, forgiveness, and blessing, which means that we too can invite our friends, coworkers, neighbors to share meals of grace and blessings with us. So take your plate again. At the bottom under bless, I want you to put your name or names that God's put on your heart when you began with prayer. And if we're week 3 into this and you haven't even done that part yet, shame on you, okay? Are you being funny? No, I'm not. You should have been praying and asking God for a name. And you're like, well, I have, but he hasn't. Oh, I bet he has. He's had, man, if you ever read Ephesians, it said, we were saved to serve for good works he prepared in advance for us. Guess what? He has names ready for you. You just need to ask and obey. But write that name or those names on the bottom of that plate. And you put this on your table this week to where you see it every time you eat. Your kitchen counter, wherever you eat. So it's a reminder for you to reach out to those people. Here's challenge number 2. For real, find somebody in this auditorium that you really don't know that well. Come back next week, better friends, because you ate together today.